How do you feel about outsourcing personal ads? In other words, a lot of guys spend a lot of time on the personals. That's a lot of back and forth. How do you feel about outsourcing that?
Okay. Well, I actually so this is pretty relevant, I guess. To prove a point to a friend of mine who was like, outsourcing, that's a bunch of crap. You know, I'm a this, I'm a that. I can't use outsourcing. I was like, well, give me an example of something you can't outsource. We were drinking a lot of wine. This is my MMA coach, who's a professional UFC trainer. You'll see him on pay-per-view all the time. And he said, well, like dating. He's like, you got to put in your FaceTime, go out to the bars, blah, blah, blah. I was like, oh, yeah? And I was a little tipsy at that point. I was like, I'll outsource my dating. I'll outsource my dating for 4 weeks. And if I win, like if I get a girlfriend out of it, then you owe me, a case of this wine, because his mom works at a winery. He's like, okay, fine. So I went to elance.com. And I put up a project bid. It was just like a request for proposal, very professional. You're setting dates in an online calendar. Some people misinterpreted that and got really offended afterwards. But basically, the way it worked out was I had teams all over the world of like 4 to 5 people: Croatia, Philippines, India, even Americans in Jamaica who were working for $4 an hour. And they all competed. They had a list of criteria and rules and so forth. Each of them was allocated one of my online dating profiles. So like one got Match, one got Yahoo Personals, and then if you had smaller sites, they get 2, so like Plenty of Fish or whatever. And then they competed to set dates in an online calendar. But this was just when my book was coming out, so I was like, man, my schedule's going to change a lot. This just isn't going to work, because I was like, Thursday from 7 to 8, and then Tuesday from 1:30 to 2:30. Like, there's no way that schedule's going to hold. So I was like, all right, in the same way that I batch email, so checking email at specific times, and then between which I let it accumulate, I was like, all right, well, I'm just going to do all my dates in one weekend. So I did 20-minute coffee dates in one weekend, and I didn't want to travel because I was like, how lazy can I get with this and still make it work? So I had 3 coffee shops in my downtown Main Street. I was like, okay, well, I'm just going to have them alternate, because, the walking in, walking out, that could be kind of awkward as well. So I ended up having close to 30 dates in one weekend. I came clean with it completely. That was a litmus test too, because it's like I needed a chick with a sense of humor. So I had follow-up dates with a number of them, and the ones who ended up panning out were like, "Wow, you're really a dick, but that is kind of funny." And it's like, okay, like there's some potential there, and ended up with a really awesome, super hot, intelligent, like well-educated girlfriend for about like 6 or 7 months. And
that's amazing.
So for the cost, how much did it cost? It cost less than $300, including a performance bonus that I gave to the winning team. So I mean, there are all sorts of bonuses and everything. Awesome. So like, how much does it cost to go out and get numbers and buy drinks and do this and do that to get 20 dates? Thousands of dollars probably if you're anywhere remotely competitive. So I just let them do it for me. Side note, the best, so on Match and stuff, I was always like, you got to come up with something clever, like something really clever and quirky to get their attention in the subject line. The most effective subject line was looking for a date.
Revert to the obvious.
Wow, that's
There's
really...
something key you said, and then we'll take a couple questions even though we're out of time. You said, how lazy can I be and still get away with it? And the truth is, and one thing I really learned from seduction and pickup is that the least amount of work you can put into it is the best path to take. Yeah. You always want to do as little work as possible and make her do the most work. The more work and time she invests into it, that's great. So I will do as little as I possibly have to make something happen.
And all this stuff applies to guys as well, meaning that if you're negotiating for ad rates or something like that, get that salesman fetching things for you and investing in the process. And then you get to the point where it's like, okay, I can give you this much, but it's 70% less than you want, but I'll send you a FedEx check overnight. You'll have it tomorrow at 8 a.m. And then they're like, okay, fine. So not that you want to have these girls resigned to going on a date with you. That's not what I'm saying. But the same principles apply. I mean, this is psychology and persuasion. It's not just pickup.